be able to navigate it. Firstly, in the session outline, we have the terminology. We are going to try and understand what terminology that we shall be using today and in the days to come. And then also, we're going to understand what internet shutdown is. Thirdly, we're also going to understand, try and find ways of how to go around internet shutdowns. And then, fourthly, we are going to have the question and answer, whereby we shall be answering and clarifying some of the points and concerns that we may have at the end of the session. Can go to the next. So in the learning outcomes, here we are basically talking about what you should be able to pick from today's session and maybe implement it and use it in your daily work or whatever you do. So firstly, after the session, you should be able to understand what internet shutdown is. And then secondly, you should be able also to anticipate internet shutdowns and how like you better prepare for it so that by the time it comes, you are ready, prepared, because normally they say medication is better than cure or something like that. So you need to be able to prepare early so that by the time it comes, you are not affected that badly. And then also you should be able to, at the end of the session, you should be able to navigate internet shutdowns with relative ease. Most times when there's shutdowns, it affects a lot of people, it impacts a lot of lives, works are affected. But then after this session, you should be able to find ways around it and be able to keep relatively ease online during shutdowns. And then also at the end of the session, we should be able to keep it on. By keeping it on, we mean your presence online and your communications and your work. So we should be able to keep it on, whether during shutdown or during the normal days. Next. Yeah, so the terminologies, basically what you are going to, these are just some few common terms that normally we use when talking about shutdowns. One is the authorities or the governments. Basically, the authority or the government is a system or a group of people governing an organized community or generally a state. For our case here, mostly what we can say is the government or the authority is the government of South Sudan. And most of us here, I'm sure we know how the government of South Sudan is, the structure and everything, how it runs. And then also people from other countries who are also in the life, you also have your own system or group of people who are governing your community, your state, your country, and that. So when we shall be talking about the authorities, just know that we are referring to that group of people. And then also another thing that we are going to be talking about is the circumvention tools. By circumvention tools, we mean tools that allow an internet user to connect to the internet more securely and privately. The best and most common example of this is the VPNs. So a VPN is an example of a circumvention tool. So these are tools which basically just allow you to be safe online and to be also privately connected. Like most times you may think that when you're using the internet, it's only you who is seeing what you're doing, but there are very many actors and that can monitor. If they decide to monitor whatever that you're doing online, they can decide to monitor you But for you to avoid all these things, you can use what you call circumvention tools, of which you have VPNs as an example. And then next we have what we call litigation. So litigation basically refers to the use of legal action, typically lawsuits, filed in national or international courts to challenge lawfulness of a government-ordered blackout. So litigation in this here we are talking about it in relation to shutdowns, but in general, litigation is just the process of filing lawsuits of any kind. But in this case, we are relating it to internet shutdown. So this is one of the terms that we normally use when talking about internet shutdowns. And then also we have what we call enabling rights. So enabling rights are fundamental rights that, when exercised, empower a person to access, claim, or protect other rights. So these basically these are rights, like just like the definition or the brief description has said. These are rights which enable you, which make you to access and claim or protect other rights. For example, we have rights like right to education, right to visit food, all those basic they call them the UN rights or whatever. So we have these rights that human beings have. So some of these rights are being suppressed when you have internet shutdowns. So with internet shutdown, like they can block some of these rights. So when you have access to, when you have rights like when you have things like access to internet or information, then it can allow you to also access other rights, or to claim for other rights, or to protect other rights. So basically, these are rights that help you to get access to other rights that you have. So what is internet shutdown? So according to the Keep-It-On Coalition, the Keep-It-On Coalition is a body which comprises of very many organizations which come together to fight for the internet rights of the human beings. One of the organizations that we have in the Keep-It-On Coalition is Access Now, and then we also have the Internet Society. So these bodies, they came together and formed a coalition which is called the Keep-It-On Coalition. So this coalition came up with a definition for internet shutdowns. So what does the definition say? The definition is internet shutdown is an intentional disruption of internet or electronic communication, rendering them inaccessible or ineffectively usable for a specific population or within a location, often to exert control over the flow of information. So basically, this, in simple terms, internet shutdown is when, like, a government, we earlier talked about the authorities or the government. So when they intentionally block the usage of internet to the public or to a certain population or to a certain region, that's what we call internet shutdowns. You see, it has to be intentional for them to control the flow of information. That's when we can say it is what? It is internet shutdowns. So also, internet shutdown is also known as the blackout or kill switches, network disruptions. So these are other names that you can use to refer to as what? Internet shutdown. So again, we have what we call censorship. Censorship is sometimes used interchangeably with the internet shutdown, but however, it is also different. So censorship is basically when some parts of the internet, or maybe let me say some content on the internet, is blocked. It's not like when there's total shutdown. This is just like part of it is what is blocked, or some content on the internet are not able to access it because the government wants to control it, or to control access to it. There we refer to it as what? Internet censorship. Next. So we have already defined it, internet censorship. So we are now trying to understand it more. So, and I'm sure most of us here, from the definition, you already know what it is, and maybe in one way or another, you have experienced it, whether here in South Sudan or in any other place that you are in, or you have ever been in, or maybe you have even heard it from your friends, their experience in with the internet shutdown. So I just want to give the floor to you people to try and share with us some of your experiences that you might have had or you might have gone through during internet shutdowns before we move ahead. Anyone to share with us? Those who have experienced internet shutdown in any way?
Yes, Deneki.
Thanks a lot, guys. Experiencing down the internet and the side effect, how it has affected the works of civil society across the globe. Let's take a quick history of it, of what is happening in some of the African countries, whereby it also delayed our work, even for example, like us who are relying more on this common telecom internet, whereby it makes our work sometimes not to go, and the side effect of accessing news or resources for us, it become hard. Let me just give an example of recent what happened in Tanzania, Uganda, whereby they shut down the internet during the election. And it makes life more difficult for people to access internet. Apart from this plan of bringing Starlink, things were not moving well, like because we're in the global village today, whereby nobody doesn't want you to move very far. And if you talk in terms of economics wise, you can be in one place than using a lot of money to attend a meeting. For example, like this meeting where we're attending, it's all the advantage of having internet. Once there's no internet, once it is shut down, it makes the entire work not move smoothly. That's what I can have on as my example. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Deneki. Ginaba, over to you. Yes, Ginaba, your hand is up.
Thank you so much. I would like to say, I think last year we had an internet shutdown in Juba or in South Sudan, which was also affected the entire country, more especially the journalists. So it was the experience for the first time that I had in shutting down the internet, more especially the freelancers and other people who benefits more through the internet. So I think getting break news information through the official platforms, receive updates from the sources, send the stories to editors and other activities to journalists was not easy. And by that time, people lost,
Now, when was the internet shutdown exactly? Last year? Time? And how long?
I really don't remember now, but I think there was an internet shutdown which did not take long in South Sudan last year, and I cannot recall the date or the month. And maybe if someone have that idea of when the shutdown took place, but it really affected the people, and I really experienced how the shutdown it is impact on the people who lived in the country. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ginaba. Yes, Joseph, remember, it was not internet shutdown, but just social media kind of blockage. So it followed the issue of Sudan when those graphic videos from Sudan came in, and then there was the attack on those Sudanese traders, and then the NCA then blocked some some social media sites. It was around January 2025. So
Okay.
Duko Dominic, how about you?
So everyone, I would like to share my experience during the 2021 presidential election of Uganda. I was also in Uganda by then. It affected greatly, especially my friend who was supposed to submit his research. Before he published it, there was and it led to him to be brought out of the deadline. And he did not even graduate that very year. He graduated a year later. That was what also made the very hard to him. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Great. Thank you all for the contribution. Over to you, Joseph.
Yeah, thank you all for sharing your experiences. And as we have heard, like this is a serious issue. Like it affects a lot of things. It affects our education, like Buga just shared. It also affects our work, like the likes of Geneva and Deneki have shared. So it's really very important for us to get to understand these things, and then to find ways of how to go about them. And the good thing is that today we have a session about that. So thanks all to Excellency Foundation for giving us this platform to share. So we can go ahead to the next slide. And just please let's learn these things, and then we try to put them into practice so that we are able to be better. So we talked about internet shutdown, and then there was censorship. So basically, these terms they are related. They are closely related, but they are different in a way. So like shutdown, as we can see here, this part here where there's red and then there's this black, this represents shutdown. And then you can see this power button here. So this means like this is something like once it is pressed, like there's total complete shutdown. Nowadays we have these dedicated outages whereby you have one part of the country or one part of the city is out of power, and then other parts is what is on. So that means like once it is switched off, then the entire area or the entire city or then even the entire country sometimes is out of what is offline. So that's what we exactly mean by shutdown. And then with censorship, this is whereby basically some part of the internet is accessible, while others have been what restricted, have restricted access. I hope we get that very well. Next slide. So now the types of what internet shutdowns. So basically, internet shutdowns are categorized into complete and partial shutdowns. See, that's the broad kind of categorizing of the internet shutdown. Complete is whereby maybe you have the entire country being shut down, like the entire country. But then partial is whereby you can have a city or a region which is being shut down. Or sometimes you can have social media applications are being shut down, and then the other parts of the internet is left on. So basically, that's the broader categorizing of the internet shutdown. But then we have the smaller parts whereby you have the blanket shutdown. This is the complete shutdown, like total, everything is cut off. For example, when you have the power grid is shut down, when you have cell towers shut down, or you have broadband services shut down. So this one here, like, this is really bad, whereby when you have some of the things that we are going to talk about, sometimes you may not be able to use them because the shutdown will be what? Will be totally down. For example, like this power grid, it affects a lot of things. Like everything will be down. And then there's what we call also throttling, or this is whereby just like the internet is slowed down, because sometimes you may find the website or the internet is sluggish. You may think it's just a network, but when it's actually the government or the authorities trying to do it, to limit access or to limit the flow of information. So one of the ways that they do it is through throttling, and this one came in after the blanket shutdowns got a lot of criticism from all from the advocates, and then from all these collusions. So the government tried to come up with another way of controlling or shutting down the internet. They thought of, and then that's when they brought in this throttling, whereby they just slow down the internet. They don't cut it off, but they slow it down. So once it is slowed down, then it's also like it still affects the work of people. So it's they achieve their goals of controlling the flow of information. So yeah, this is another also form of what internet shutdown. So next time when you find the internet is very sluggish, it's not only the network. Sometimes it may be the government that is what trying to control you. And then there's what we call also blocking communication platforms. Like we said earlier, I think this is one of the most common that we have been experiencing, especially in the example that Bida was talking about. We had I think Facebook, WhatsApp, and what they are shut down. But other parts of the internet, like the Google and all other these things, we are on. So because the government knows, like, most people are on these platforms, these messaging apps. So sometimes what it does is just to block only these apps, so that people cannot share information, or they cannot spread rumors, and yeah, they achieve their goals of what they're trying to do. Next slide. Yeah. So censorship also have different ways that it is implemented. One is you have the technical censorship, whereby you have interference with internet communication through IP blocking. We also have DNS blocking and tampering, and then you have sometimes what we call TCP blocking. So this is a technical way of censoring what the internet, which the government uses sometimes. And then secondly, we also have the legal, administrative, or social consequences. Like this, whereby the government uses legal threats, and also sometimes some form of punishment, which the leaders or the authority used to censor the internet. I see people are complaining about the law which has been passed recently, that some content of it is trying to implement what we are talking about here. It's trying to censor the internet. It's trying to silence the people, whereby they are not allowed to say certain things, to do certain things. So this is also another form of what? Internet censorship, whereby the government is controlling some parts or some content on the internet. They don't want you to share some of these things. So it also qualifies to be a form of censorship. And then sometimes you also have what you call a company imposed censorship. This is whereby, like, platforms are also limit what content also voices they publish. Yeah. So these days you have publishing companies, you have media companies. They don't just post anything. They don't just because sometimes you find them they are being sponsored by different agencies or even government sometimes. So these people they control what is published on their platforms. So by doing that alone, they are trying to censor the internet, because they are not allowing certain content to be published. You see, they are not allowing certain content to be published. So that means like they're censoring those contents. They don't want it to be shared. So it also applies as a form of censorship. And then NB, there's also what we call internet blackout sometimes, like sometimes whereby we have maybe infrastructure damage, like the cable, because this internet is brought into the country through a cable. There's a cable which runs, I think, from America. Sometimes others come from Europe. So sometimes you have disturbances of this infrastructure, or even electricity itself when the power goes off, and then maybe some of these cell towers are running on those power, and then it goes off. So there's disturbance to internet. That one qualifies as a blackout. So that one is not censorship because it is not intentional. It's not intentional. It's not. It's just a failure of technology or infrastructure. So that one is also something different. So we should also try to understand that, so that sometimes when these things happen, we don't just rush and blame the government for it, but we try to find out what the problem is. So am I being censored? How do you know? Or I'm sure some of you are asking yourself now, how do I know whether I'm being censored or not? Because sometimes maybe, like I've just said, it may be just infrastructure failure or technological failure, or maybe it is shut down. So how do you know whether you're being censored or not? Next slide. So basically, we have some tools which can help you to understand whether you're being censored or not. So these are the tools whereby we have these are tools and organizations which this one, they specifically what they do is they monitor the internet shutdowns and censorship. So this is their work. One of them is what we have called UNI. Yeah, we have UNI, which is the Open Observatory of Internet Interference, and then we also have the IODA, which is the Internet Outage Detection and Analysis. Then the MLab, we have the Cloudflare, we have the Article 19, the Access Now, Electronic Frontiers, and the Global Network Initiative. So these are organizations and tools which monitor what? Internet shutdowns, and these are the ones which can help you to understand whether the internet is being censored or whether it is being shut down or not. So we shall look into them later on, mostly the UNI and the IODA. Yeah, can go to the next slide. So why internet shutdown? Why does the government do what? Implement internet shutdowns? At least to them, the reasons that they have to implement shutdowns. One is they say that they're doing it for the national security. And sometimes when in the government, yeah, you may find that sometimes the government is fair to shut down the internet. But what we know is that most times the effects or the impacts of these shutdowns are more than the bad that they are claiming, like the national security and what. So the impacts are more, sometimes exceed these claims that they have. So one of the claims is what? National security. And then sometimes they say they are doing it because of communal violence. Like what Bida was talking about last time when there's the Sudan incident. So there was that aspect of violence coming up. So the government thought it wise to do what? To shut down the internet, because a lot of misinformation was being passed through the internet. So for them to control it, they had to shut down the internet from their part. That was the solution that they had from their part. So also we have what we call public unrest or instability. Yeah, the same thing. And then disinformation or misinformation sometimes also makes the government to do what? To implement internet shutdowns. And then we have cheating or preventing cheating during exams. I think this one we experienced it some last year. Is it last year or the other year? When during the national exam there was some interference with the internet, I think, because I think most times people share these exams online. So there was some interference, if I'm not mistaken, of during that time of the exams. So these are some of the reasons or justification that the government has to do what to implement internet shutdowns. Next, Beta. So when do internet shutdowns normally occur? So it's very important for us to understand the events that happen around internet shutdown, so that we know that if such kind of events are coming up, we should be able to do what? To anticipate that around such kind of events, there's normal internet shutdowns. Internet shutdowns or censorship is one of the things that the government can run to as a way of trying to control the public or try to control the flow of information. So one of these events that is elections. This year we are preparing for elections. So mostly, like when it was the history of internet shutdowns, they normally happen around elections. Around elections, and then when there are also protests. Last time we had protests in Kenya, this Gen Z protest, which was too bad. And then around that time also, I think there were reports of internet shutdown and censorship. So these are the kind of events that we have internet shutdowns implemented around. We also have when there's an ongoing conflict in a region. You see, there's that example of Ethiopia. There were reports also that when they were having some conflicts there was internet shutdowns. And in fact, Ethiopia is one of the countries that have experienced some of the longest shutdowns in history, especially during their conflict of the Tigray region. The region had a lot of internet shutdown. It was cut completely for long periods of time. So around that kind of events, there's also there's normally internet shutdowns, and then also major public holidays or public events, because mostly around these public holidays or events, there are a lot of rumors which come up. People like spreading rumors, disinformation, and misinformation around these times to confuse the public. So the government may come in with a strategy of internet shutdown to try and control some of these things. So should be able to anticipate internet shutdown when it comes to that kind of public events or holidays. And then when there are visits from public figures, also around that kind of times, we have international. Yesterday I was trying to follow, yesterday and the day before, the conversation on the Clarity Desk group. So there are a lot of rumors coming where that there are some public international people coming in to visit the president and things like that. And there are very many rumors coming up. So when there are visits by these kind of individuals, normally sometimes also people try to fabricate a lot of misinformation to confuse the public. So we should also be careful when it comes to this kind of events, so that we also be prepared for that. Also, like we said earlier, major exams like the national exams, normally also there's shutdown or censorship around these events to control cheating and other things. Yes, Vida? The impact. Okay, can you, maybe we can pause a bit to try and hear if there's some clarifications we need to make before we go to the next, or some questions, anything someone want to talk, or you can check in the chat box if there are things we need to clarify.
Yes. So yeah. So feel free to put your hand up if you have a comment you want to put across. But I can just read some few comments in the chat. Asiki Alex is saying many times in South Sudan we experienced the internet shutdown due to fiber cuts, which are very common in the MTN network. But I think you are able to clarify that, and you say that that is not a shutdown, but that is an internet blackout because it is not intentional. That's a technology failure. And then somebody was saying it was the Nasser incident. He was referring to the the issue with the closure of the social media in January 2025, but it was because of the Sudan incident. And then Salfa Leo is saying that an example of DNS blocking is experienced when you are using the social media bundles introduced by MTN and Digital. They block your browser DNS when you need to access the other side of the internet using the social media bundles. I think that is a very good example. And then Bamong guy is saying that how about bypassing this blocking through VPN? I think that is against the law. And then Salva replied that using VPN is not illegal. So, and then I saw GB is saying while the tool itself is rarely illegal, using a VPN to commit crimes such as hacking, illegal file sharing, or accessing prohibited content remains unlawful. So he's trying to clarify the lawful and unlawful acts when it comes to the use of VPNs. Yes, so participants, for example, somebody is asking, how do we navigate and ensure that one access the internet during shutdown? I think we are still coming to that, so let's not rush. We're still just trying to do clarification in terms of the things that have been explained, or if there's something that you want to add, that is what we are looking for at the moment. But the question on navigating the internet shutdown and ensuring access during shutdowns will still coming because we are still just halfway through the session. It's just 30 minutes past 3, so we just halfway through the session, and Joseph will come to that. Thank you so much. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you have more contributions, feel free to share your thoughts and be able to add to the discussion and see how we can move forward from there. Anyone wants to contribute? Okay, then looks like there are no contributions. So Joseph, you can proceed.
Slide. Yeah.
Okay, then let me go to the next slide. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Now let's try to discuss the impacts, because shutdowns normally come and then it impacts and affects a lot of life, a lot of sectors. So basically, what one of the impacts of internet shutdown is what it interferes with people's right. I remember I began by that. I shared earlier. So normally it affects what we call the freedom to opinion. It also affects people's freedom of expression, and then right to access of information. Earlier on, I mentioned about the enabling rights. So enabling rights, one was the access to what? To internet. So when you have internet being cut off, all these rights are being affected. You see? So this is the way that these things work. Uh, the internet shutdown cuts off the internet to access to internet. In return, it affects your freedom of expression and your freedom of opinion, even freedom of access to information. So, and once you have lost all these things, then life becomes hard for you. Your work is affected. You cannot share anything with anyone. You cannot get any information from anyone. So, and this in return affects a lot of lives. And then also it has severe and negative impact on the economy, healthcare, and education. All right. So it affects almost all the sectors of life, say the economy, because we have people who earn a living through the internet. We have people who work through the internet, and then we have health care which is delivered through the internet. Doctors' appointments are done through the internet. Education, people are learning through the internet. So when you have the internet being cut off, all these things are affected, right? All these things are what? They are affected. And uh, what happened, Bida? So we are just trying to share some example there, whereby you said in terms of economy, are you people getting me, Bida? Okay, yeah, I think Bida is the one who has dropped off. So one of the impacts is that in the economy, we say here, according to the top 10 VPN annual report of 2021, in 2021, Myanmar lost almost 2.8 billion due to internet shutdowns. So when we say that internet shutdowns affects the economy, we really mean business, because you see this kind of amount of money which is being earned through the internet. So when there's cut to this internet, this money is lost, and this money alone can help the country's economy, can help improve livelihoods in these countries. So it really affects people when the economical, when the internet is shut down. And then Nigeria also lost a whooping $1.4 billion in 7 months, which is a lot of money uh, uh, due to internet shutdowns. So this is how these things affect people badly, and can affect people can lose their livelihoods because of what? Because of internet shutdowns. And then also it affects or disrupt the livelihoods of people, as we have just talked about. These small businesses which depend on the internet to operate. So normally such kind of shutdowns affect them so badly. These days we have a lot of online stores being run by people. Uh, so such kind of things, or online courses, online sessions being run by people, and they earn a living through these kind of things. So when there's internet shutdown, all these people are affected. All these people cannot do what they do, earn a living. So this one normally it does what? It affects their lives so much. And then also to it affects, like earlier on someone shared, I think it was Lino Odeneki, about the work of journalists and activists. So normally also this group of people are really affected by what? By internet shutdown, because they are not able to share information because normally their work or is dependent on the internet. So when there are shutdowns like this, they are really what? They are really affected. Uh, their work is affected, and then as a result, uh, their livelihoods are also what? Affected. So what are some of the facts uh, when it comes to what? Internet shutdowns? Uh, one one of the facts about internet shutdown is that it has been there for a long time as internet shutdown. However, it has been brought to light. It was brought to light in 2011 by the Cairo Tahrir Square protest. This I think this is one of the famous protests that we of recent history that we have seen. We have seen from North Africa, especially Egypt. So this process really drew a lot of attention from the international community, even from the government, until to the extent that the president had to order the shutdown of the internet and all mobile operators in the what in the country, because there was a lot of information flowing, and then it was causing a lot of trouble to the government. So they had to shut down the internet, try and control uh, to try and control the public. And then uh, Also in 2016, the UN declared internet access to internet as an enabling right for all other human rights, right? So this is this this is GB, you are done sharing your screen? Hello? Are you getting me, GB?
Yes, it's all
I'm
Oh, okay.
trying to share the screen, but I'm in a noisy place. I don't know where you are exactly. Which slide were you?
Yeah, this is a slide, exactly this one.
Okay, it's fine then.
Yeah. So as I was saying, in 2016, the government or the UN declared internet access as an enabling right for all other human rights that exist. So what this means is that the internet or access to internet enables people to claim or to protect other human rights, like we have right to education. So without the internet, then there is no right to education, because, or let me say, the right to education will be what will be interfered with. So it is very important for us to have what the internet. And then also another factor about the internet shutdown is that Myanmar has suffered the longest internet shutdown in history, which is 19 months. 19 months. That's almost 3 years. That's like that's like
Are you people
one
seeing
year.
the screen? Joseph, are you seeing the screen?
Yeah, I'm seeing the screen.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. I'm seeing the screen. So let me hope also the rest of the people are seeing. Yeah. So okay, yeah, thank you. It's confirmed. So that's another fact that we need to get right. The longest that internet shutdown that we have had was in Myanmar of 19 months. So that's a long time to be out of the internet. So imagine being out of the internet for just kind of long. So all these other human rights that you have, which have been enabled by internet access, are all affected or interfered with. So uh, the lives of people in Myanmar were really affected in that period. And then next we have say these internet shutdowns, they are normally they are common in Asia, Africa, and the Middle East. I think for obvious reasons, these are countries which are which are which are not which have a lot of issues when it comes to governance or to human rights. So you find that this is where like the shutdowns are mostly common. Uh, yeah, that's that. And then also in 2021, the Access Now and the Capital Coalition documented at least 182 shutdowns in 34 countries across the world. So this has been one of the most affected years when it comes to internet shutdowns. A total of over 183 in 34 countries. That means in a country you have like over 3 or 4 internet shutdowns in a year on average. So people's life must have been really affected by this kind of what happenings. And then you also have we say that there's increased use of internet shutdown by these days by the world governments, because they are trying to control a lot of uh, perspective or flow, information flow, because almost half or even more than half of the population, the world population these days is on the internet. Almost everything is happening on the internet. So for government to try and have access or to try and have control over the people, they normally is in the internet. whereby they can control the people. So they are increasingly using this as a tactic to control people or to control the flow of information. And then we say that the commonly affected apps include WhatsApp, Twitter, Telegram, Facebook, Instagram, Signal, VPNs, and then the Clubhouse. So these are basically what is commonly affected by internet shutdowns. GB, you can go to the next slide. So now navigating internet shutdowns. Navigating what? Internet shutdowns. How do we go around it? We know, as we have discussed, we now know what internet shutdown is. We now know the impacts of internet shutdowns. We know, please, the previous one, previous GB, previous slide. GB. Okay, let's just continue. Internet shutdown. How do we go around what? Internet shutdowns. One, what we do, one way of going around the internet shutdowns is through advocacy. Advocacy is whereby you advocate for the right to internet or the right to access to what? To internet. So this is one of the ways that we as a people we can do what? We can go around internet shutdowns. And then one of the ways also says the use of circumvention tools. Earlier on, we defined what circumvention tools are, and then we also have what you call the strategic litigation. We shall look deep into that, and then we have what we call the research and technical tools that we can use also to go around internet shutdowns, and then advocacy as a way of going around internet shutdowns. So basically, what we mean here is that the advocacy groups, the human rights groups, the humanitarian sector, the private sector, or even sometimes the government, they have to come together, form a coalition whereby they can advocate for the right to access, right? Through advocacy. This is advocacy now. These people, these groups of people, the advocacy group, the activists, the humanitarian sector, the private sector, or even the general public, they have to come together and try to do what? To form a coalition whereby they can advocate for these rights, or for the internet to be kept on, for the people to access it. And then once they come together, what do? They engage. They have to engage the local and international media to spread the information or to try to push the advocacy for the internet shutdowns. Also, they have to engage the government themselves or the authority so that they can find reasonable solutions for the issues that the government might be facing, which is causing them to implement internet shutdowns. So also, these coalitions can engage with the regional and global intergovernmental bodies like the IGAD or the AU and the UN. So when these bodies come together and engage these intergovernmental bodies, they can be able to find solutions or to put more pressure on the government to keep the internet on. See, so in doing that, we find that what we try to get around the internet shutdown, or we try to keep the access to the internet on. Also, we have they can also engage the election observers or the diplomatic missions. Like for our case here, we have the UN mission, we have the United Nations embassy, the United States embassy, the UK mission, and then all these countries, these diplomatic missions, they can be engaged by these coalitions of advocacy groups, humanitarian sector, and then the private sector to try and what? Keep the internet on. Next slide. Yeah, that the previous one was advocacy. So by using the circumvention tools, this is another way that also we can try to do it to get around the internet shutdown. Circumvention tools, we defined them already earlier. So one of the examples of circumvention tools is the what? The VPN. VPN is a virtual private what? Network. So these are tools that you can use to 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 access internet during internet shutdowns. To go around internet shutdown. So some of the recommended examples of the internet of the circumvention tools or the VPNs is the CPhone. We have the tunnel pair and then the outline. So these are some of the examples of the VPN which are recommended for you to use, because there are a lot of free versions and different versions of the VPN which are there on the internet. But however, some of them are not safe for you, because uh, the the they may end up monitoring your internet use and even selling your information to other parties. So it is very recommended that you try and use a recommended or uh, a good version of these tools. Next slide. Yeah, another example of a circumvention tool that we can use is the silence app. So a silence app, this is an open source SMS based messaging app.
GB, can
Which
you
you can,
just pull your slideshow, please? Proceed, Joseph.
so okay, we shall share with you these slides, I think, later on. But yeah, let's proceed. So this silence app, as we can see, this is an open source SMS based messaging app. You don't need the internet for you to use it, and then it is also does what we call end-to-end encryption. That means your messaging or whatever that you're sharing cannot be accessed by any other person except you and then the person that you're sending it to. You see, and then it also has what we call local encryption, whereby even if your phone is stolen, that person cannot what? He cannot have access to what? To your information, because it is what? Encrypted. You see. So this app, this silence app is only available for Android users. Sorry for the iPhone users. It's not available for iPhone because iPhone does not allow some of these third-party apps. They like to develop their own apps, which will run on their what? On their on their devices. So this app is only what? Available for the Android users. So you can take your time. You go to Google Store, and then you search for what? You search for this silence app, and then this is the logo. This is how it looks like. Then you try to download. I'm sorry because I'm not able to share my screen, otherwise I would have showed you somehow how you can download it. So that is that about that. Oh, there's there's a there's a store we call yes, you are trying to search it. No, it's not that one. That one is different. You you type this GB. Are you getting me? GB.
Yes,
You
I
try
can
to
get
type.
you.
Yeah, there's this platform whereby you get some of these apps. It's called F Droid. F. Try to type F. F. And then you put a dash. You are that one. You first this one, and then you first download this app onto your phone, and then via this app, this is whereby you can get some of these devices, some of these applications, because some of them are not available on the Play Store and some of these platforms. But here you can get them easily. So this one works like a Play Store also, whereby you can log in, then you install some of these apps. So you go here, you download the app, and then you install. Then from there you can search for what? For the Silence app. I hope you are getting me now. The process. Yeah, thank you for confirming. So you go on that platform, you install it, and then from there you go and what? You search for Silence app, and then you can get it. And then there's what also we call the Braille. This Braille you can get it, I think, on Google. You try to search it. Yeah, GB. Yeah, it's that one. So this is also another app that you can use to go around the internet shutdown. So for this one, it uses the Wi-Fi or the Bluetooth routing capabilities. So you don't need internet. You just need the other person to install the app, and then you are in a close proximity, and then you can be able to do what? To share information among yourselves, and then this information is not accessed by the government, because the government cannot shut the app down. Why can they shut it down? They cannot shut it down because this app does not have a server whereby the government can go and do it and shut it down. So this app is also only available for the Android users for the same reason that we stated earlier. The iPhone doesn't allow some of these things to run on their platforms. They prefer to develop their own or to have their own software running on their devices. So this one also is available only to Android users. And then another app that you can use is the Delta Chat. This Delta Chat uses the email service network. This one usually uses the email service network. So this one means that it works by the help of the email service network. See, so this email service network is one of the largest open source communication network that we have, and it is very, when you say it is open source, and then is not muchly monitored by the government, or the government cannot easily monitor these platforms. So this is where the data app runs. It is an app on its own, but however it can send messages to through email. So you can send, using the app, you can send message to someone and they receive it on their email. They may not have to install that app, but you can just have their email. You send them a message, and then they get it on their email. They reply it from there. You can also get it on that app. You see, so that's how this one works. However, the good thing for this one is that it is available for Windows, even for Mac OS, Linux, and iOS. So this one for iPhone users, you are able to do what to access this one, or to use this one to try and protect, or to go around censorship on the internet. You see, that is Delta Chat, and then I think you can try to Delta Chat. I think the second one is the second one. Now you first go back to Delta Chat. Yeah, you can try to search it for us. Search it. Also, another thing about the Delta chat, it doesn't have this video because it works like this. Works like this messaging apps, like WhatsApp and what. But however, it doesn't have the video and audio calls. So you can only use it to send what messages, and then it can also it encrypts messages automatically. By encrypting the message, that means like no one in between can do what can access or can see the information. They may be able to see who you are communicating to, at what times you are communicating to that person, how frequent you are communicating to this person. But however, they will not see the content of your communication that you are sharing. So this is also one app. So all these apps, you can use them to do what to avoid internet shutdown and censorship, right? So at your free time, I'm sorry I'm not able to take you through all of them, but you have the information now. You know these things, so you take your time and then what try to explore. Just go on or search for these apps, and then try to sample them, to use them, and then see how they work, right? But all in all, these are apps that can help you to do what to 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 navigate through this internet shutdowns. And then next slide. Okay, let me give chance if there's any questions about this circumvention tools before we go to the next thing. Are there some questions that we can answer from the chat box or from the people?
The chat box, there are no questions. Maybe one day I can.
Okay. But I'm sure the links to this apps are already been shared by GB. So
Yes,
if
there are three links. There are three links. There are three links. Three links for Briar, then F. Sorry. Briar, F Droid, then the last one. The chat delta. Delta chat.
The Delta chat, okay. So yeah, that's good. So at your free time, you take and then try to explore some of these apps, and then the next way that we can try to go around this internet shutdown is through what we call strategic litigation. So strategic litigation is different from ordinary litigation. The ordinary litigation normally it surrounds it's all about sometimes individuals, whereby you're trying to fight for the rights of an individual. But however, the strategic litigation is whereby you fight for the social good, or for the rise of the community, or for the rise of the society, or of the nation as a whole, or for even humanity sometimes. So here there's a broader goal to this kind of litigation. That's why it has to be very strategic. And then because of all these involvements, sometimes it moves very slow, and it can even take years for you to achieve the results that you are looking for using this method of strategic litigation. And then you may not get a very big result at once, whereby you have like maybe a law being passed that can just change the whole narrative or the whole governance of the internet access. But you can have what we say a series of small victories, which can in the long term lead to a bigger victory. So this one, it's not like this app whereby it is instant solution, but it takes time, and then there are small victories in between. And at the end of the day, we may see that we get a bigger what? A bigger result, whereby we can be able to have internet access not being interfered with by the what? By the government. You see? So this is broad, and it is big. So before you engage in this kind of strategy or this litigation, you have to consider some of the things. So what are the things that you should consider? One issue is you should take into account the effort involved and the long-term timeline of strategic litigation. So you should not just think that this is something which is going to happen in a day, in a week, or even sometimes in 1 month or in 1 year. So this is something which takes long. You see, this is something which what? Which takes long. So before you engage in that, there's some background noise somewhere. Maybe you can mute for these people. So, yeah, we're talking about the strategic litigation. So we are saying that before you engage in these things, you need to consider the timeline of this thing. This thing is not something that can take 1 day, 1 week, or even 1 year. Sometimes take years. So you should be able to plan for longevity of what of this strategy. So also you should consider the resources and the form of capacity constraints, because strategic litigation requires a lot of resources, requires a lot of uh, uh, collaborations among different actors. So all these things you should be able to consider when you are trying to engage in what strategic litigation. And then also you have to align your litigation with forms of non-legal advocacy. You see, so it cannot all be legal advocacy. Sometimes you have to use non-legal what advocacy. Huh? What are these non-legal advocacy? These are advocacies you can do outside the court system, right? This you can use public figures to try and promote what you want to achieve, to try and talk about these things, to push these things. So this means that you're using what non-legal what advocacy to do what to push for a strategic litigation to allow internet access for the people. And then so also consider using the social and political context. Consider the political and social context of where you're trying to apply this strategic litigation. Is this country, can it support such kind of systems? What are the dangers that it has? It can bring to the people involved and things like that. So you have to consider all these things before you do it. You engage in this, and then the safe storage of case document, because the legal process. Legal processes normally there are a lot of documents being used, and then there are a lot of evidences. So you need to make sure that once you have these things, there's safe storage for them. You see, so the safe storage of these documents you have to you really what to consider before engaging in in uh, in the process. And then the identity of clients, people that you will have engage, you need to protect their identity. You need to make that they are safe. And then yeah, so that is that about strategic litigation. And then the last thing that we are talking about is the research and technical tools. So this research and technical tools, what they help you do is that they give you evidences that you can use against the government, or you can use to hold the government accountable for these internet shutdowns. So basically we have, there are many, but for now we are only going to explore these two, which is the uni and then the IODA. So GB, you can maybe type for us, try to show us some of the interface, especially for the uni and the IODA. Yes, GB, so that we can share the link with the people. So this uni, what normally does, just it measures the speed of the internet, and then it also try to monitor the internet shutdown, whereby it can tell you whether your internet is being shut down or not. You see, or if there's censorship or not. So these tools will help you to understand whether you're being shut down or not. Yeah, that's the one. So that you can use it as evidence against the what? Against the government. You see. So this one also you can install it. It works both on the computer, and then also on the phone. You can install it on your phone, and then once in a while you log in, you try and check the internet. You run your test, especially sometimes you can run tests for WhatsApp. You can run tests for Facebook. You can run tests for the internet service providers themselves to find whether these things have been have been censored, or they are slowing down. Why are they slowing down? So all that information you will be able to do what to get it from there. So yeah, I order. Scroll down. Scroll down. No, 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 no. Yeah. Go up. Go up. Go up. Let me see. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This one. This one. So this one also to also help you to what to no you click here, click on the website. Yeah, this one. Yeah, this one even you type here, you type there and South Sudan, and then we see it will give you information about South Sudan or any other country that you see. So it gives you all this information about the internet usage in South Sudan, or the speed of the internet in South Sudan. You see, where there's probably, you see. So these are basically the two tools that you can use to do what to monitor the internet, and then you see. So this is showing you the internet usage, where when the speed is okay, when it is reducing, like it shows you how the network that we're using its speed, or when they are cuts, you find that there are also spaces in between these graphs, which can show you that, oh, okay, here there was no internet shutdown, there was no interference with the network, and then here the network was good. At such kind of time the network was good, here the network was not bad. So like here, this is whereby you had the best network and things like that, you see. So you take your time, try to explore these apps. Otherwise they try to help you to understand whether your network is really being being tampered with, or is just some kind of fault with your device, or or your network, like that. Yeah. So next slide. Yeah, I think I think now we have come to the end, whereby we are going to have some Q&A. So feel free to ask some questions, and we try to make some clarifications and answer some of them as we are trying to conclude the session. Yes, GB,
Yes,
any?
Joseph.
Yes.
Thank you for the moderation. What I should tell is the participants that the attendance list is there. Let them fill it before they go off. I've already shared it. And then someone is asking, does Delta Chat work without internet?
No, for Delta Chat it needs internet, but however, what it helps you to do is that for you to avoid being monitored on the internet, or for your information to be seen by another party like the government or even the internet service providers, because you find that this MTN and the digital, all these internet service providers, they can decide to see whatever that you are sending or your information. If they're asked by the government to provide them these kind of things, they can do that if they decide to do that. But however, if you use this kind of apps like Delta Chat, it will make it very hard for them to access your information. However, they may be able to see who you are sending the information to, when you are sending it to that person, and how often you chat, but they cannot see the content of that information. So this Delta Chat normally just helps you to protect your information from being accessed, but it will need internet to work. Others, however, others like uh, like what like the Brea and and what those ones, they don't need what they don't need the internet. See, the Brea and then the Silence app, they don't need what the internet, but the Delta Chat and then the VPNs, you need internet to be able to use them, but they will protect your privacy online. That's the word, privacy. They protect your privacy.
Someone is asking that will those in power who are shutting down the internet be held accountable for their actions? Like, can you take legal action against the government people who shut down the internet?
Yeah, of course. That's why we said there are ways you can get around these internet shutdowns. One of them is the legal way, whereby we talked about litigation. So can we meet that person? So we talked about legal litigation. I mean, so this is the legal part of dealing with the internet shutdown. So these people can be held accountable, right? They can be held accountable through strategic litigation. Yeah.
And then someone is also asking that the messages of this circumvention tools be received by someone using them, or they can be received by anyone. Like, do they move from one tool to another, or they can just be accessed by anybody else?
Okay. What happens is that you can send it direct to a person. However, they also have, some of them have these groups, like they operate like these messaging apps. So they have groups. So if there's a group that you're part of, then you can send it to a group. However, you can send also the message direct to a person, and the person receives. So I'm also seeing someone talking about like do the people have to be in the same location to use some of the like wha- wha- yeah, like for the for the what, for the prayer, because for it to use as the Bluetooth network, that means you need to be what, you need to be in a close location to the person uh, for you to be able to share with them this your information. However, there is also a way, like, but that one now will require also the use of internet. Because there's, you can create an account with it, and then they'll give you a link you can share with that person, with another person, so that person can send you a message through that link, and then to come to you. If the person is far, that one it will require what, internet use. However, if you are within the same location, you can just use a Bluetooth network without internet. Then you can share information among yourself, or even you can use the Wi-Fi network, and then you share. So it works in two ways: either through the internet, or uh, without the internet. So when you are close together, you can use the Bluetooth. When you are far, then you can share the link, and then you send it. Uh, you can send it to someone who is far. Any other?
There's this one here. Someone is saying, how do you navigate and ensure that one access internet during shutdown? E.g., has been
How do you?
mentioned, like using VPN. Are there other options? Yeah, like when there's already internet shutdown, like how do you maneuver your way to the online
Okay. The
access?
thing is like this. The thing is like this. So these things, like us being the internet users, and us being the journalists, and then the advocates and all these people, you have to be prepared for these things. You don't have to wait for the internet to be shut down, and then you go and then you say that you want to get these things. You have to be prepared. By being prepared means you have to get these apps in place. You have to create these groups in these apps. You have to create these links. You have to share these links uh, with the people that you work with the people that you need to keep communication with. Because remember, earlier on we talked about events around which we have this internet shutdowns. So when you find that there's a big event coming up, like an election, or a public figure visiting the country, or something like that, or there's tension in the country, uh, uh, there's communal violence in the country. So you should anticipate, should be able to anticipate that, okay, around this time is what likely to be what internet shutdown. So you prepare for them. You prepare by doing what, by getting these apps, trying to connect yourselves on this app, so that if in case these shutdowns are implemented, then you're able to keep what, keep communication among yourselves. I hope I have answered the question. Yes, is the
Yeah,
person
the one in
satisfied?
the one in the chat box are all answered. Maybe if they have any other, they can raise their hand and then we have 8 minutes to go. Anybody with a question, you can either text or you can raise up your hand. Unmute you. Question and complaint. Someone was also saying he uses Proton VPN. Helps you safe.
What is giving an example of VPN, right? Yeah, the ones I share with you, these are just the few examples that we have recommended. However, there are very many others which are there. And then, as you are trying to go and to use them, should be very careful, because, as I stated earlier, some of these VPNs are not trusted. They are run by different groups with different intentions. Some of them may be interested in your data, which they can use it for other purposes. So you should be able to, you should be very careful when trying to access or use some of these VPNs. So what we shared with you is basically the ones which are recommended. Yeah, they are trusted, so they will not share your information with the government or any other third parties. Yes.
Makwach, you wanted to talk, you can unmute yourself and talk and ask the question. Mr. Question. Makwach saying a yay.
Yeah, looks like there are no more contributions. So we want to thank you, Joseph, for the excellent presentation. Yeah, it's been very detailed, and yeah, we've shared most of the links that have been discussed during the session. We've shared all the links, and the links are in the both in the chat and also in the WhatsApp group. So we want to release you all. We can call it a close of the session. We wish you the very best of your afternoon. We just leave it 5 minutes to the closing time, and we hope that you have put your name in the attendance sheet. There's one person who said the name is not in the attendance. If your name is not in the attendance, it's because you have not registered. So all people who have registered, their names are in the attendance. And the slides, we'll share the slides. We'll share all this. We share the slides for all the sessions that have been facilitated. So all the best, everyone, and take good care of yourselves. We will meet again in the next session.